Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, but also a ton of other topics as well around the current market structure. So sit back, relax, and before we fully jump on into this video, I do just want to ask guys could hit that like button. It does help the channel grow immensely. And of course, I always do greatly appreciate that. Now, overall, Bitcoin is down 20% almost on the 7-day span. Ethereum almost down 19% on the 7-day span. We are seeing even XRP down almost 20% exact on the 7-day span. A few other altcoins are down significantly, as you guys do see. On the 7-day, we could all see the massive downtrend on like Luna, for an example. Even UST, a stable coin, today crashed. We're going to be talking about that. But you guys do see the massive percentages down on a lot of these other assets, like even ApeCoin's down 44.5%. There's a few other ones as well. Yesterday, I did do a quick video on 5 altcoins that I'm waiting to really buy into. A few of my buy points are actually being targeted right now, but I have not pulled the trigger yet on them fully, simply because I do think that we could see a little bit more downtrend. Of course, if we see a nice little bit of a reversal, I will most likely take positions on those specific assets, which are like KDA, Link, Graph, ENJ, and a few other ones. So with this in mind, let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things around this market. But first, I do really want to talk to you guys about the Luna and also the UST crash, because I think that is something pretty significant to talk about and address. So let's just dive into that. First off, the fear and greed index is now down to about 10. This is actually pretty significant. So once we broke 37K, I was actually hoping for 37K to, hold. I actually said on Twitter that, in my opinion, that 37K is going to be the last line before we do jump to 50K plus. And the reason why I said that is because it was the last major line of support for the bulls to hold. Once we lost it, it was time to de-risk. And the market at that point in time was not even at extreme fear. We were at about fear levels. Now we are at extreme fear. We are seeing massive capitulation, in my opinion, in the market. We have been in a bearish trend since going back as far as November. And I think that a lot of people are very, very scared right now, very worried. There's a ton of individuals that are down significantly on their positions, myself included. And I even said on Twitter, listen, I'm either going down with the ship or I'm sailing to basically the islands, right? But again, when we talk about things happening around this market, I think that fear is probably one of the biggest drivers of not only massive sell-offs, we will see massive capitulation, but it's actually good for the market because of liquidity. We need liquidity to drive prices, and we also need a lot more buying pressure in order for that liquidity to be utilized properly. And we're waiting for that to actually happen. We're waiting for buyers to step in. We've been seeing a lot of accumulation around Bitcoin just recently, which has given me a little bit of a sign of hope, but it's hard to stay hopeful on Bitcoin when we are seeing massive support trends being broken. But let's talk about Luna and UST. So in terms of Luna's position, if you will, here we have 42.5K Bitcoin being completely wiped out of their balance, right? Terra just emptied their Bitcoin wallet, deploying more capital steady, lads, from Do Kwon. This was pretty interesting. Now, I don't know where this Bitcoin went, but I would assume that it most likely was, sold. I'm not going to say anything about this besides the fact that, listen, we need to stop putting the trust behind a lot of these companies that are just printing money out of nowhere. UST gives me the same vibes that Tether does, where we are seeing money being printed out of nowhere with no solid backing point. And in fact, talking about that, UST itself, right, the stablecoin of Terra's, was down almost 40% today. And it's still sitting at about 78 cents. A stablecoin pegged to the dollar. Yeah, it looks like it's pegged to the dollar, right? So this is pretty significant, right? I mean, this is going to most likely be the talk of the town for not only the government, right? Because governments love to talk about how unstable crypto is. the risk behind it, they are going to eat this up. We are going to be seeing so much FUD around stable coins and things like that, and we've already been seeing it. We're actually going to be talking about that. But also even Luna, right? Luna's down, and of course, yeah, sure, the market is also down pretty significantly, but this definitely today the actions behind Luna definitely did not help at all. It's down 77.78% off of the highs that we just seen in April. So again, I'm definitely watching a lot of these, altcoins specifically, but again, you got to look at the 200 EMAs, because the 200 EMAs, like, we just broke it and we just continued this massive downtrend, which told you to de-risk. And even Bitcoin gave us that same exact sign. Well, I shouldn't say the 200 EMA on the weekly, but the 200 EMA on the daily. We just seen that back in April when we were trading at about roughly 48K. We climbed a little bit above it, but once we broke down, it was just a massive downtrend since then. But we've been in a massive downtrend since November, since we actually broke below it, so going back as far as like December, right? But overall, I'm hoping that our bottoming point is nearing on Bitcoin. I don't believe that we are at our bottoming point, but if we are, this would be about a 56.75% drop from the all-time highs. We've seen about a 55.96% drop back in the summer of 2021. But it's hard to say if this drop is over, because in my opinion, I don't think it is. We could come down to test those summer lows, or possibly even test the 200 EMA at about 27K. So again, I'm not going to, ape into any altcoin positions just yet, because we could be seeing roughly, 26K to 28K being tested perfectly on Bitcoin. And of course, in terms of the market itself, let's go to the indices, right? So the Dow Jones, NASDAQ, and even the S&P closed out a pretty rough day. Down 650 points on the Dow, down 520 points on the NASDAQ, and down 132 points on the S&P 500, all in a technical rating score of a strong sell. Now, yesterday, I warned you guys about XRP and where I could foresee us kind of coming down to. Also, I did warn you guys ahead of time in terms of Luna. Their LFG, right, basically said that, hey, we're going to be doing, something tomorrow where we possibly sell $750 million worth of, Bitcoin to hold up the integrity of the peg on the UST. Yeah, that resulted in a massive sell-off in the market. I updated you guys on that and basically told you guys that it was most likely going to result in a massive sell-off in the market, and that's essentially what we did see. And I also did update you guys on XRP, which I was saying, my buy point on XRP is roughly around like 51 cents almost, down to about like 41.5 cents. Now, I did not enter in on a position on XRP yet. And the reason why I say this is because I'm still awaiting, since we broke down below the summer lows, I'm now awaiting for us to test these lows back in February of 2021 down at about 41.5 cents. So I'm watching that within the range of also like roughly, it's like 43, almost 44 cents, right? So that's where I'm watching for XRP to enter in. I think that is a perfect position. Now this could come down and honestly test as low as roughly like 23, almost 24 cents. This would be the 236. We've tested these levels before. I mean, this is going off the all-time high of 2017, 2018, off of the lows of the March of 2020 dropping point. Look at the 236. We came down to almost test it perfectly on the bear market lows of 2018 before we had that nice impulse and sideways momentum to regain the 200 EMA, which we just broke, by the way. And we finally broke that around like the 2019 timeframe during the March of 2020 drop as well, but quickly regained it. And we traded it sideways on it as a major support zone. So again, we could come down as low as roughly like 24 cents. So, although I'm taking a position here, I would say that my stop loss, my manual stop loss where I sell, is going to be at the 382 at around almost 39 cents, almost 40 cents exact. So that's what I'm watching for on XRP. And also, I just want to reiterate right now, around the current market structure is this major pushed agenda where everyone thinks that they know exactly what's going to happen. All right, the recession is here, blah, blah, blah. Guys, I just want you guys to understand right now that when we talk about a recession, do I believe that a recession is nearing? Yes, I think that we are getting very, very close to a recession. And we're actually going to be talking about that here shortly. But I did say, there is such a major push agenda right now about crypto and the financial markets. It's not even 50-50. Everyone thinking they know exactly what's going to happen. The sky has fallen. It's 2008 all over again. It's not even surprising at this point. And I did say we are now seeing that agenda at its height. And I do believe that we are still seeing that. And a lot of people are saying, like, hey, Nick, at what point do you concede that we are in a bear market? I said bear market or bull market. I just stack. I'm in for the long term. Either way, we have been in a bear market since November to now, but it's not even close to what a true bear market could be, hence why everyone is calling lower. I just know we didn't hit peak euphoria yet. And I've said this multiple times, but altcoins, in my opinion, have not hit peak euphoria yet. But let's talk about the recession, because I think that the recession is going to be something pretty significant to talk about. So let's just dive into it and let's talk about the major warning signs that we've just recently seen. So we've seen a quoted tweet from Frank Giastra. I'm probably butchering his name, but we did see whenever the Fed feels the urge to calm markets, it's a sign of trouble. Think back to 2007. They usually say these things as they climb to the higher deck on the Titanic. And we did see U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says that the U.S. financial system is functioning in an orderly manner. I honestly can't even say it without laughing, because we know that the U.S. right now, in terms of the financial system, is completely broken. There's no returning to, the stages that we've seen in, 2020 and before. It's finished. Inflation is out of control. We're seeing inflation at, 8.5% on the books, but we do know that inflation, in my opinion, is well above 20+%. That means that your bank account, year over year, is being taxed 20% in terms of inflation. Right now, it's only being taxed 8.5% because that's what they're letting on, but we know that inflation is far higher. This is also why I say that I stack crypto for the long term. Okay, yeah, sure, are we down 50+%? We could go all the way down to 90% on some altcoins. Some altcoins are already down 90% from their all-time highs. But does that worry me? No. Because although, there is altcoins down 90+%, you got to also look at it like this. Are you stacking legitimate projects? Are you stacking projects that have a solid team behind them, that are utilizing these assets, that, these assets do provide real value? Because if you are, these are assets that also will have a major bounce back. I've compared crypto to the dot-com bubble, right? Where we had, legitimate, companies, but then we also had scam companies that just had billion-dollar plus valuations. We're basically seeing the same exact thing around crypto right now. The thing is that I'm stacking utility gems like XRP, like XDC, HBAR, etc. that do have real-world value. And I feel confident holding these assets even when the bear market is here, because the bounce back is going to be far greater than holding just the US dollar or holding stocks. Again, pay attention to things happening right now. But also talking about the UST stuff, which I found interesting. We did see breaking news. The Federal Reserve is warning stablecoins are vulnerable to runs. If you have not read my Tether thread, please read. It's funny, right? It's funny because we are seeing, this vulnerability sort of, notion being spread around, crypto. And of course, they're saying, again, lack of transparency around these assets may exacerbate those vulnerabilities. When we talk about this, right, like, I think that the whole UST stuff is just a way, I mean, you got to think about it like this, right? If you've been warning about crypto risk for so long, and all of a sudden you see a stable coin go down 40+%, you are jumping in joy, because that's going to be talked about for so long now. And also the IMF also warning that higher food and energy costs will be one of the main channels of the global impact, which we lay out on their IMF blog. They're talking about, right now, all of the world's regions will experience slower growth and faster inflation. They're admitting right now that they do see this happening right now. Guys, they're not even trying to hide it. A recession is nearing, but I still feel confident holding crypto, because when we look at crypto compared to any other market, the risk to reward ratio is far greater than holding the US dollar, than holding stocks, than holding even commodities, right? So With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join me for Discord down in the description below. As always, I hope that you all have a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.